We've had a few requests to do a short video on railroad spike knives, so I would like to offer up some suggestions and some tips that will hopefully help you make your knife a little bit better and a little bit easier. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing you need when you're, if you're going to be making a knife out of a spike, you have to have a way to hold it. You want to avoid using an ill-fitting pair of tongs, something like this, where you're grabbing it by the side. This doesn't fit real good. It's going to be a little bit loose. Even if you've got a tight grip and you start forging on your spike here, you have the chance of that loosening up. So you want to have a good pair of tongs for doing that. Now, one pair of tongs you can have is a pair of tongs that's specifically made for holding a railroad spike. This particular pair grabs it right by the head, and now you've got a good firm purchase on that spike. Another option is bolt jaw tongs or bow tongs. And they grab it like this. Now this pair would need to get adjusted for this particular spike, but you get the idea. But you've got a really good purchase on this railroad spike so that when you start forging it, it's not going to come flying out of here. Okay, now the next thing you're going to need, if you're going to twist the handle, you have to have a way to do that. Now a couple of options. One is an adjustable wrench like this. I'm sure some of you guys might have one like this, but you can see how wide the jaws are, as opposed to a wrench like this, which is made for railroad spikes, made to fit a railroad spike. It's a lot thinner and it allows you to get your twist closer to the head. That would be the difference between the two. This one with a wider jaw, your twist will be starting down in here somewhere. So that's just going to be a matter of personal preference, what you want to do there. Now you're also going to need a vise, some way to hold the other end, and that leads us to our next decision. Do you want to forge first or twist the handle first? Now I prefer to twist the handle first because my spike is already cold. If I want to lay out my handle for a grooved twist or something, I can do that. My piece is nice and square now. I can do that now, and I can heat that up then and twist it. As opposed to forging the blade first, the handle area could get messed up. You'd have to re-straighten it. So I personally think it's a little bit easier, if you want to do a nice twist, to do the twist part first. Now that brings us to the actual twisting part. So let's go over to the vise and go over that. If you want to do a twist in your handle, you can chisel grooves in, you can do center punch marks. You're pretty just going to be limited by your imagination. For this example, we're just going to do a straight twist. So when it comes to twisting, if you haven't watched our twisting video already, we're just going to go over some of that information again quick. You have two ways to twist. You can either do it vertically like this in the vise, or you can do it horizontally in the vise. Now I prefer to do it horizontally because doing it vertically, I'll tell you why I don't like doing it that way. For one thing, when you're doing it vertically, if you don't hold your spike right in the middle of the vise, you have a chance of wrecking the threads on your vise. A lot of guys, you'll see them in videos where they grab it out on the end, and you can see if you watch this end of the vise how those jaws don't stay parallel. If you start cranking down on this, it's really hard on your threads on your vise. But the main reason I don't like to do twist vertically is because I can't control the twist. So I like to do it horizontally like this. But you will need a vise spacer of some sort to keep your jaws parallel. Your vise spacer should be close to the same thickness as the material you're twisting. And also doing it this way, I can put a mark on my vise so that when my spike is hot, I can line that end up with the mark on my vise. And now my twist, if I'm doing a couple of knives, I can get the twists all the same. And by doing it horizontally, I can start twisting now, and if it happens to twist too fast in one spot, I can use some water and pour it on the spot that's twisting too fast to slow it down, so I can get a nice even twist. That allows me to be able to control the twist. Another thing I'd like to mention, if you want to get your wrench really close to the head of your spike, to keep your twist as long as possible, is to use a file or a belt sander to just take off the little bit of extra material on the railroad spike head that comes from the upsetting process when they forge the head. That allows you to get your wrench in there nice and tight, as opposed to this one, where it only goes so far. Okay, you want to have a wire brush handy and a bottle of water handy when you're doing twisting. And you want to go nice and easy. After you get your twist started, you can take your wire brush and scrape some of that scale off of there. And now I'm watching how my twist is going. It's a little bit hotter in the center, so that's going to twist a little bit faster, so I'm going to put a little bit of water on there to slow that down just a little. Now you also have to keep in mind, if you're going to be forging your blade on the square or the diamond. And I'm going to forge this one on the diamond, and we'll get into the difference between those two in a minute. But you can see I went a little bit past, so this is what I would call forging on the diamond. So that's our twisting. Want to make sure it's straight and a nice even twist. So let's go forge the blade now. Okay, this one we'll be forging on the flat. Okay, now I'm going to take another heat and we're going to try working on the edge, thin that out a little bit, and narrow up our spine just a little. Now I like to work out on the far side of the anvil. I can turn it over, work on the near side. Now you can forge that to whatever your liking is for a knife blade. And I leave it a little bit thicker, so we forge thick and grind thin. Now this one is forged on the diamond. So now you can see the difference between forging on the flat or the square and forging on the diamond. You get a little bit different look. You're just going to have to try experimenting with two different methods and see which one works best for you. You get two different, totally different looks. Well, thanks for watching. I hope these few tips will help you out in the future when you're trying to forge a railroad spike knife. This is by no means an inclusive list on tips. If you happen to have a tip that you think would help people out and you're willing to share it, leave it in the comment section below. And again, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, contact us at Ken's Custom Iron.